So you can make more sales by talking about your negative points. And the whole point of this exercise is to get people to believe you. So what we're going to do is use candour. Now candour is basically just when you tell it like it is. You talk about it warts and all, which is how I like to do business. In advertising and in sales, the hardest thing is getting people to believe what we say. It's a problem in America, more of a problem in England, more of a problem in Australia, and then in New Zealand it's the biggest problem of all because we're very sceptical and we just tend not to believe what we read in an advertising message. We know they're just trying to get our money, so why should we trust them? So the way to cut through all that is to talk about the negative points about your product or your service. Now, when I tell you the negative things about my service, you're going to believe me. Why would I tell them to you unless they were true? I've had pretty good success on Trade Me. Now, one of the main reasons I've had that success is because I use candour when I write my little ads. I explain the negative problems with what I'm selling. So I'll go through and I'll list all the little scratches that you might find, and if you turn it over here you'll see this, and this is a little problem. And so the person believes me about that, and then they tend to believe the rest of the ad as well. So they're going through and they're looking at different listings, and they might come to one that just says it's in good condition or great condition. Then they come to mine and I'll say, oh, it's in pretty good condition, but it's got this little problem here and it's got this little problem here. On the whole it's pretty good, but you need to be aware of these things. They'll believe me and I will sell my product over the competing products. So do the same thing when you're selling a service. If you just tell the prospect that you've got the perfect solution, you'll fix it and it's going to be absolutely ideal, they're not going to believe you because nothing's absolutely perfect generally. So when you tell them the little negative points of why your service has, little things that it won't fix or other factors like that, they're going to believe you much more. And they'll believe what you're saying about that, and that will transfer across to believing you about the other things, versus the next guy down the road who tells them that doesn't tell them any candour at all, doesn't use any candour at all. So it's a really solid strategy. Now, the marketing advertising gurus Jack Trout and Al Rees, they have the 22 immutable laws of marketing, and one of them is to use candour. Now, they talk about it like you can explain it away a little bit at the end. So they'll use the candour and then they'll tell you why it's not a big deal. Or even more than that, they'll just explain it away. What I think you should do is tell them the negative points, but don't totally explain them away, because to a Kiwi, I think that still sounds a little bit hypey, a little bit salesy. Instead, just give the reasons why there's a little negative point, and then explain all the positive points so they overcome the negative points once they're believing you. But don't totally explain it away, because I think you lose a little bit of the power when you do that. But you do need to show how the positive points obviously override the negatives. So one example, just from my business, is I will generally tell a prospect that the internet marketing services that I'm going to do will not be a real quick fix. They're not going to work overnight or in the next few weeks. They're more for a long-term strategy. Now, it's totally true, and it is a little bit of a negative point. There are sales methods that are going to get faster results than what I do, but I'm building for the long term, and so I don't explain it away, but I do show the prospect that what we're going to achieve is much more important. So put candour to work when you're selling your services, and it's very powerful. For more info on using the internet to sell services, visit marketinggeek.co.nz.